Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back. We're looking at question number 19 now on the 2005 Gauss paper. Chris and Pat. I almost said Chris and Pratt, because Chris Pratt, of course, very famous actor. Of course, not back then. Chris and Pat are playing catch. Standing 1 meter apart, Pat first throws the ball to Chris, and then Chris throws the ball back to Pat. Next, standing 2 meters apart, Pat throws to Chris, and Chris throws back to Pat. After each pair throws, Chris moves 1 meter further away from Pat. They stop playing when one of them misses the ball. If the game ends when the 29th throw is missed, how far apart were they standing, and who misses catching the ball? Okay. So, what we're going to have to do is find sort of a relationship between which throw is being done and how many meters apart they are. So, for example, for the very first throw, they're 1 meter apart. And then for the second throw, which is Chris throwing back to Pat, they're still 1 meter apart. Then for the third one, now they're 2 meters apart. Okay? So we're going to have to make an observation of that and then say, okay, 29th throw, how far apart should they be? So that's what we've got to work on. That's what we've got to work on next. Okay. So let's get our pen ready and our notepad, and we'll jump right into this, shall we? Okay. So first throw, they're 1 meter apart, and it goes Pat over to Chris. Then for our second throw, they're still 1 meter apart. And it goes Chris back to Pat. For our third throw, however, now they're 2 meters apart. It goes Pat to Chris. And then it goes back for the fourth throw. Then for the fifth throw, we're 3 meters apart. And sixth, we're still 3 meters apart. So it looks like if we might generalize this situation, Pat and Chris are, let's say, n meters apart. For throws, so we've got 2 throws that they are n meters apart. There's the 1 meter and 2, 2 meters and 4, 3 meters and 6. If you just double the number of meters apart they are. So for the 2nth throw, and the one before that, 2n minus 1. Okay. So now we know the relationship between what throw it is and how far apart they are. Or rather, we know the relationship between how far apart they are and what throws it could be. Now, when I take a look at these throws, 2n and 2n minus 1, well, 2n's always going to be even. And if we think for a second, 2n minus 1 will always be odd, because it's 1 less than an even number, because 2n is always even. So what are they asking us for? They're asking us for 29, the 29th throw. Now, this can't be even, so it's not going to be the 2n throw. So we might say 2n is always even. 2n minus 1 is always odd. 29th throw must be 2n minus 1 for some n, and that's the n that we want to figure out. How far away are Chris and Pat? So we just set up an equation. 2n minus 1 is 29, 2n is 30, divide both sides by 3, we quickly get n is 15. So they are 15 meters apart. Now, the second part of the question is, who misses catching the ball? Okay, so who's catching? Well, Pat throws to Chris, then Chris throws to Pat. So, and then Pat throws to Chris, and Chris throws to Pat. Pat throws to Chris, and Chris throws to Pat. This is the pattern they give us. Pat throws to Chris throws to Pat. Pat throws to Chris, then Chris throws back. Chris is always the one throwing back. And the throwing back occurs on the even one. So this is Chris to Pat. And the odd ones are Pat throws to Chris. Okay. So they're 15 meters away. And it's an odd throw, so Pat must be throwing to Chris. Pat threw, and Chris caught, or at least he should have caught. So who misses catching? Chris misses catching. So we went 15 meters, and Chris misses. Okay. So which of these answers are 15 meters and Chris? And it's the very first one. Okay. So our answer is going to be A. And we'll flip over to the next piece of paper in anticipation for the next question, and that will be question 20. Finish up the B part. So we'll handle that in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to like or subscribe or whatever, you can take a look at any of the other contests. But regardless, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you for more math in the next video.